This administration disregarded the advice of General Powell, disregarded the advice of General Shinseki, and fired him as the Army Chief of Staff. Before that, they fired the Secretary of the Army, who stood up for General Shinseki. And finally, they disregarded the guidance of the CENTCOM commander at the time, General Tommy Franks, who on his first briefing on the Iraq War sent 500,000 troops. The first briefing in Crawford, Texas. So this administration, led by an Alabama National Guard dropout, you know, now, when you're from Georgia and you see somebody who can't hack it in the Alabama Guard, they are bad. And Dick Cheney, who leads the nation in draft deferments because he had something else better to do. And Karl Rove, whose only fire he ever was under was 5 testimonies before the federal grand jury. And Rumsfeld, who's the worst Secretary of Defense this country ever had. So we are led by that team, and they will not change. And this congressman that is here does not really represent you. Say, support the troops. No, no, no. 35 veterans are running for Congress out there this year. 34 Democrats. There's a message there, folks. The troops coming home from Iraq. That are running for Congress, all but one are running as Democrats, all over this nation. Graduates of the Air Force Academy, graduates of the Naval Academy, retired military are coming out of the woodwork to run for Congress, most of them for the first time, to change the course of this nation. So I'm here to say that this wonderful lady, Linda, that you have, the golden opportunity to support, as Joe said, can not only help change the course of this district and the state of New Jersey, but change the course of American history in a very common sense way, in a programmed way, in one way that works for our country, one way in which we get the country back on the right course. Let me just go over some of the incredible positions that this incumbent has taken. There's no moderation there, there's no common sense there. It is quite frankly unbelievable. I campaign all over America for candidates, and this is one of the most right-wing nutsos I've ever come across here. This guy that Linda's running against. Now, in so many ways, he represents everything that the Bush administration represents, which is disaster, quite frankly. He's been an unwavering supporter of the war. He supports Bush 93% of the time. Jack, he supports the disabled American veterans 0% of the time. For the last 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, your incumbent congressman, who likes to be part of the Republican effort to wrap themselves in the flag, when it, you know, in terms of the quotes, he's there, but in terms of the votes, he's AWOL. And so for the last 3 years, your incumbent congressman has had a 0% record in supporting things that the disabled American veterans are calling for. I would say, too, that one of the things that is most egregious to me is the fact that this incumbent does not allow for a woman to make a decision on her own if she, by rape or incest, happened to get pregnant. He wants to criminalize that act, a woman taking care of herself, in the case of rape or incest. Unbelievable. I would say, too, that in terms of Social Security, my mother and father, and members of the greatest generation, Jack, are on Social Security now. Very few of them growing up in the Great Depression, as my mother and daddy did there in their early 90s. My daddy was stationed at Pearl Harbor after the attack. Very few of them have a separate corporate pension. So they really exist on Social Security and Medicare. This Republican Congress has screwed up the so-called Medicare drug benefit to an unrecognizable piece of legislation, so confusing. Why? Because it's really a boondoggle for the pharmaceutical industry. And this incumbent Republican voted for that and has taken $600,000 from the pharmaceutical company and rewarded them by voting for a $139 billion boondoggle for them. That's what they've done to Medicare. And he brought President Bush in here, into this congressional district to support President Bush's plan to privatize Social Security. That's not taking care of intergenerational responsibility, and that's not this country. So if you want to protect Social Security, you want to improve Medicare, you want a decent drug benefit, you vote for Linda. And if you want to change course in a common sense way, you got a great chance November 7th.